Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Sharon Baum, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Captain Tony Miskelly. We warmly welcome the family of Flight Lieutenant William Vyner Duckett White, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of the ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family, visitors to the memorial, and students on behalf of the following school: from Victoria, Scotch College, Melbourne. If you are able, would you please stand and join in singing the national anthem?
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is birth by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians to understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flight Lieutenant William Vyner Duckett White. William White was born on the 25th of October 1913 in Inverell, New South Wales, the son of Harold and Constance White. William's father had served during the First World War, earning a Distinguished Service Order, serving with the 2nd Light Horse Brigade. Known as Bill, young William attended Cranbrook High School for 1 year before he was forced to leave by the Spanish influenza outbreak. He and his brother Harold contracted and survived the flu and went on to attend Geelong Grammar, while their younger brother Jeffrey remained in Cranbrook. Following in his father's footsteps, in 1927, Harold moved to Kenya and was awarded an Order of the British Empire for services to primary industry in 1964. William joined his brother from 1930 to 1939, serving in the Kenyan Defence Forces and working as a journalist and company manager, with interests in farming and mining. William served in Shanghai with the British Militia Force and the Chiang Kai-shek before returning to Sydney, where he learned to fly. Described as a dark, handsome and tough with a shining personality, White was a hard drinker, remembered for imbibing a bottle of whiskey daily. He enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force as an air cadet on the 30th of January 1940. After completing his flying course, he was appointed to a commission on the 4th of May 1940. White was posted to No. 2 Squadron in August 1940 and served at Darwin for several months as a captain of an aircraft taking part in sea reconnaissance. Around the middle of December 1941, he moved with his squadron to Ambon. From there, he was involved in the early stage of operations against the Japanese forces, flying on reconnaissance flights and operations. On the 29th and 30th of January 1942, immediately preceding the Japanese invasion of Ambon, White carried out continuous reconnaissance of the Japanese invasion fleet and was repeatedly attacked by fighter aircraft. Eventually, his aircraft was irreparably damaged and could no longer be flown. He was later granted the Distinguished Flying Cross for his actions, which were described as an epic story of courage, determination, skill, and devotion to duty. But White would not live to receive the award in person. With the Japanese invasion underway, a group of RAF personnel at Lahar airstrip planned to reach a pickup point in Saram, an island just north of Ambon, in 2 Hudson aircraft. With White's aircraft disabled by a shattered fuel line, the evacuation plan was revised. 17 men were to leave on the serviceable aircraft, while the 11 left behind attempted to repair the damaged Hudson. When repairing the damaged fuel line proved to be impossible, an evacuation flying boat flying between Ha Long and Darwin was contacted. It was unable to be immediately returned for the stranded parties, so a pickup point was arranged at Giza Island off the southeast tip of Saram. The flying boat kept that rendezvous on the 12th and 15th of February, but without success. William White was reported missing, believed to be a prisoner of war, on the 19th of February 1942. Later investigations determined that the group of 11 had refused to surrender to the Japanese and had taken food and set out to cross the mountains to the north coast of Ambon. The group purchased a prow, a type of sailing boat, to attempt the crossing from Ambon to Saram on the 4th of February, but were captured by a Japanese naval patrol. After the war, mass graves were uncovered around Lahar airstrip, and although his remains have not been positively identified, it is believed that White was among a group of prisoners who were captured and taken to Laha, where they were executed between the 17th and 20th of February 1942. In 1987, William White's medals were presented to the Australian War Memorial and proudly displayed in Anzac Hall. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A group portrait of the captains of aircraft, Number 2 Squadron RAF, is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. William White is standing to the far right of that group. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flight Lieutenant William Vyner Duckett White, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.